Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well. It is Sachi and I'm going to be doing some eclipse messages. So what I'm going to be doing is a reading for the collective of the eclipses which are coming up. The first one is on October 25th and the second is on November 8th. And then in the extended, I'm going to do the individual sign readings for specific messages. So if you would like to become a member, the extended is available for Eagle and Phoenix members. So, and you can find all the information in the description box below. So just a little bit about the eclipses that are coming up. So eclipses in general are wild card portals. Because they can really sort of throw you on any timeline if you're not careful. It is very important to be very intentional and focus on alignment during eclipse season, because all of the little details and small actions that you are taking really add up to big timeline influences. So for those of you who are familiar with quantum mechanics, quantum entanglement, the sort of old school way to think of it is the butterfly effect. So, every single choice that we make, fractals, branches out to determine the timeline that we are on. For example, if I were to have started this video 5 minutes later, I would be on a different timeline. Okay, so, when we go through eclipse season, quantum jumps in the collective can be quite stark, and you can notice them. There are a lot of different signs for quantum jumping. Things may change around your home. Certain memories may change. The Mandela effect, like new Mandela effect, things happen. If you're not familiar with the Mandela effect, I highly suggest that you, look into it. So Mandela effects in the collective, people that may just fall off. You may not see them again. Changes in work, changes in where you're living, all of these things can be profound effects. So it's very important to sort of, take note of your environment and really focus on the timeline that you're trying to get to rather than just sort of taking a back seat. Eclipse season is also a time where many are doing, rituals and things like that. So it's sort of important to be grounded in your own center. And again, be focused on your own authenticity and trying to get to the timeline of your choosing. I do have a timeline jumping workshop if any of you are interested in that. It is called the Unicorn Workshop, because unicorns are, I call them glitches in the matrix. Basically, they take you where you are now on this timeline, and then here's the timeline that you're wanting to get to, and they rip space-time so that you can jump with intention. And unicorns specifically are, they help you get to the timeline of your choosing, but one that is in alignment with your soul's mission. They help you follow your north node, right? Your true north in your natal chart. So if you're interested, that is in my shop. My twin flame and I put that together on the 8/8 portal quite some time ago. That's how we were able to awaken to the true sidereal timeline, which is my next topic before we begin the reading. So, the tropical mainstream narrative is that this first eclipse on October 25th is in Scorpio, when in reality it is in the constellation Virgo. If you want to look up at the sky for yourself, if you know what the constellations look like, if you want to check a sky app or any astronomical reference, you will see that the eclipse is happening in Virgo. And then the second eclipse on November 8th is happening in Aries, conjunct Uranus. So lots going on there. Just to touch upon it a little bit of the astrology before we head into the reading. Virgo is all about our daily routines, our health, specifically our gut health, what we are eating and how that influences our microbiome, which is, the gut-brain axis is how our immune system functions. They say that our gut is like our second brain, or some may even say it's sort of the first brain. Virgo also rules service to others, how we are stepping up in service versus, you know, sort of a victim mentality of being used all the time. Virgo also rules the service sector. So things who, you know, people who work in the service industry are especially going to be influenced at this time, but in general, how you serve others can be influenced as well. Virgo is also the angel of the zodiac. You know, history has tried to erase the wings of Virgo, but throughout mythological history, Virgo has always been depicted with wings, and angelic energy is just high vibrational light, right? When we get into higher dimensions, which I talk about plenty about in the Unicorn Workshop if you are interested, all of these, you know, this high vibrational light can, you know, become more dense and come into our reality. And Virgo is all about creating your own heaven on earth. That's accessing your own utopian timeline. And so with this eclipse, it's very important to be focused on utopian timelines, even if mainstream narrative, right? If they say it's happening in Scorpio, Scorpio's shadow work, Scorpio is self-sabotage, it's that doom and gloom, darkness, when in reality, it's actually happening in the constellation of high vibrational light. So again, it's very important to be tapping into your own utopian timeline and really be figuring out how to create your own heaven on earth. And that's what Virgo is all about, which is why Virgo rules things like cleanliness, organization, attention to detail, because heaven is in the details, right? When your daily routine and the organization of your home, mind, space, everything is reflective of the utopian timeline that you want to access, you're already there, right? Our daily routines are the things that allow us access to what it is that we want. And then, of course, changing our daily routines, changing our habits in order to get to that timeline if we're not already there, right? And so, of course, you can't be in your own heaven without good health. You can't be in your heaven without, you know, serving others and having a greater purpose. And so Virgo energy really helps us tap into that. And Virgo is mutable earth. So it is an earth sign. It is very grounded, but it is mutable. It's able to change. And things like our routines are supposed to change. Things like what we eat is supposed to change, right? We're supposed to eat with the seasons. We're supposed to constantly be introducing new things to our gut biome in order to have the most healthy body that we absolutely can. And then in juxtaposition, we have the eclipse that is going to be in Aries on November 8th. And Aries is the sign of aggression and anger and warfare and triggers. So we can expect it to be a little bit more on the assertive sign. And so it's very important, again, on the forefront of this eclipse season to really be anchoring into your own utopian timeline, because when it's like the energy kind of feels like understand what is worth fighting for, and your own utopian timeline is, you know, worth fighting for, because Aries represents our triggers and boundaries as well. So you can expect to be triggered and the need to put boundaries, you know, around people, places, and things in your life. You know, maybe it's you watching things that stress you out. Maybe it's you putting boundaries around certain relationships that you can only handle a certain amount of energy from a particular person or none at all. Maybe it's job, work-life balance, and things like that. So, but in general, Aries has to do with leadership and sort of being on the front line of things, right? In terms of Aries ruling warfare, he's not really the warlord that is planning things. You know, Aries is more on the front line, trailblazing and being a pioneer and showing the way. And so you can expect, many of you who are focusing on creating your utopian timeline, that you will be put front and center in some sort of way, and you are meant to show the way of how to do this. And again, you can expect people to be angry. You can expect aggressive energy to come at you when you start trailblazing, because you trigger people's jealousy. You trigger people's own sense of lack and lack of fulfillment in their own life. And so just remember that stepping into your power and stepping into your own personal authority is really, you know, dealing with that kind of energy is part of the process. Okay. And additionally, Aries is, of course, this very independent type energy, but it also represents sacred selfishness. So Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and it represents needing to make sure that you are taking care of yourself first. And again, that is in juxtaposition to that Virgo energy, right? Because Virgo is all service to others. But if you're not taking care of yourself first and making sure that you have what you need, you can't serve others properly. As they say, you can't pour from an empty cup. And so the eclipse, the latter half of the eclipse, and the eclipse portal in general blends these energies together, right? But you can sort of feel that polarity as we go through eclipse season. But the one on the 8th, again, it is going to be in Aries. And so there is this aspect of that sacred selfishness of needing to put yourself first. And it's also the healing of the inner infant. And that does talk about base necessities. So, of course, food, water, clothing, shelter, safety, all of these basic root chakra needs in order to feel safe here on this planet and in your body. And, of course, you have to put yourself first. And it's sacred selfishness because, you wouldn't call a baby selfish because it needs to be taken care of, right? It's just part of the life cycle that you rely on others. And so there is energy where we need to understand that we do need to rely on others in some type of way. And that does kind of go into the community aspect, but really this is more about going inward and towards yourself, okay? And, we hear a lot about healing the inner child, but Aries is all about healing the inner infant. And again, that's being vulnerable enough to allow other people to take care of you in some ways. And Virgo is usually the energy that takes care of those in need that can't help themselves. That's why they are so service oriented. So that is kind of the energy that is coming out in eclipse season. If you follow me on Instagram, then I've already posted a little bit about this axis of Virgo and Aries and how it's the axis of holy war, basically. They give more F's than you could ever imagine placements in that axis. And since we are having an eclipse there, you can imagine a lot of care, a lot of passion, and a lot of service-oriented energy is going to be coming out in the collective. So anyways, I did want to touch upon that. I'm just going to drink some water before we start and let you know what came out during the cleansing ceremony. By the way, my monthly readings will resume in November. So just in a couple weeks, I will be posting the regular monthlies, but every other month I'm going to do something like this where I have a special collective message. And then if you're a member on my site, then you will have a reading for your sign. And of course, if you're a member, you can read for all of the signs. But yeah. All right. So this is what came out in the cleansing ceremony. We had the Ace of Pentacles, 5 of Wands, Page of Wands in reverse, 8 of Wands in reverse, and the Star. And so with the Ace of Pentacles coming out in reverse, there's this energy of not trying to focus on the material world in general. Don't be focused on making a bunch of money. Don't be focused on, of course, there's nothing wrong with making a bunch of money, but you don't want to be too tethered to physical reality when we go through a eclipse season. Again, it's a wild card energy, and if you're only focused on money, you could end up on a timeline where money's ruling everything, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And as a collective, we've shifted away from that type of timeline, and it's important to not try to tether yourself to physical reality too much. Ace of Pentacles in reverse is also talking about not planting any new seeds, not starting a new particular, project where you sort of have to throw yourself into it. Of course, there's nothing wrong with trying new stuff and things like that. But again, this is the eclipse of routine and our daily habits. So it's really important to be sort of focused on a routine that is helping anchor in that utopian timeline rather than, starting a whole new project, starting a whole new whatever. Because usually you don't want to do that during eclipse season, because usually starting something new as a result of the timeline jump after the eclipse portal closes, if that makes sense. We have the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands is the card of chaos and conflict. And so you can expect things to get a little bit crazy. Look at the beehive here, right? It's like these guys are just sort of, you know, knocking each other in the head with their wands, not knowing they're about to hit the hive. So again, I'm feeling a lot of agitation in the collective. Again, the second eclipse is going to be happening in Aries. That is the most aggressive and angry of the signs. And for, you know, righteous anger lurks in this, in this axis. And, you know, anger and aggression get a bad rep, but it's absolutely necessary in order to facilitate change against things that are not right in the world. And so with the Five of Wands here, you know, again, it's not putting too much emphasis on physical reality. You can expect a lot of agitation. Page of Wands in reverse is giving me energy that if you've been waiting to hear back from someone or waiting to hear back about an opportunity or whatever, it's really time to let that go. It's really not a good idea to be focused on something that you're not receiving during eclipse season. It's good to feel abundant, that you are whole, that you don't need any sort of information or whatever it is coming at you. So again, you know, if you're waiting to hear something, then it's sending an energy to the universe. I don't have information. I don't have this. And then you're going to end up on a timeline where that is true. We have the Eight of Wands coming out in reverse. And anytime the Eight of Wands comes out in reverse, I always get this energy of stay away from a you versus me mentality. Okay. And I'm feeling that in the Five of Wands, you know, with chaos and conflict and, you know, the hive being disturbed. So we can expect the collective to be, you know, the feathers to be rustled in the collective, basically. There is going to be, you know, historically, eclipse season has known to bring a lot of disturbing things, right? Celebrities or, you know, rulers have been decapitated even, you know, like there are crazy things that happen. And some people even do things on a large scale to destabilize the collective, to make the collective not feel safe. And that's why it's very important for you to be focused on staying safe. And again, stay away from this you versus me mentality, because it's telling me that there is going to be a lot of, you know, energy in the collective where they're going to try to divide us yet again, and to really stay away from that and instead to focus on alignment. You know, the Star card, 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on land. And that is, you know, balancing your, and really I'm getting a balance of water and fire energy, actually, your emotions and your passion, your instinct, your lust, your kundalini energy, right? How you are manifesting reality. But again, like, alignment is the most important thing, and that's what the Star card represents. And of course, the Star also is looking to the stars for guidance. So for those of you who are having a difficult time making a transition, look at the sky. Get a sky app and look at the truth for yourself. We also had Trainer Pokemon Center Lady come out in reverse. So as you recall, all trainers indicate somebody else's energy, and we had 2 trainers come out. So Pokemon Center Lady, this is telling me you cannot rely on someone else to heal you or to bring you joy, because even though it's Pokemon Center Lady, her name really is Nurse Joy. So, you know, part of aligning yourself is not expecting someone else to be doing the job for you, right? And so that can mean your mental health professional. That can even mean any sort of medical professional, because Virgo also rules the medical industry in general, right? Because it rules health, right? Particularly gut health, but it rules healthcare, which is also part of the service industry, even though we don't really think of it that way. And so, you know, you can definitely expect topsy-turvy energy for that industry, but it's not up to them to fix us or help us, right? And Trainer All Night Party, this is an energy of recognizing who just wants to party and pretend that life is one giant party. There's absolutely nothing wrong with having a good time, going out partying, right? But if you're doing it all the time, then it becomes unhealthy. It's also not a good idea to be out partying and going crazy during this time, especially around the full moon, which isn't too far off, right? And, you know, like all night party, right? If you look inside, these are all ghost types and dark types. And so, you know, we are in spooky season, right? Halloween, Samhain is right around the corner, and there really are some ghosts and goblins, right? There are dark types out. There are ghosts out. And it's a good idea to not lower your vibration with substances or anything like that, because your vessel becomes very susceptible. So it's a really good idea to sort of, again, be focusing on alignment, and you can't be in alignment if you have some sort of mind-altering substance in your body. You know, we do have Neptune retrograde, and Neptune retrograde in general is, you know, all about not engaging in substances. And so Neptune goes retrograde, you know, every single year. And it's just a good idea for that part of the year to not really engage with substances, even though, of course, there's nothing inherently evil or anything about it. But again, during eclipse season, it's really advised against. And also, again, other people's energy. Who just wants to party? Who is so out of alignment with their life that all they do is party with their free time? You need to recognize that this person is running away from their own darkness. They have ghosts of their past chasing them that they don't want to face. And that's why they want to numb themselves consistently in the present moment. And so this is really saying to do away with those types of people. Maybe not forever, but definitely during eclipse season. We have Entei using Burning Roar, Drizzle using Wave Splash, and Galvantula using Cobweb Trip. And so Entei is a mythical dog, and Burning Roar, again, like this Burning Roar and this Wave Splash gives me energy of the star, which, as you see, like there's a red flower here and a blue flower here. And again, I'm getting like to be balancing the fire and water energy within you, right? And usually the star is kind of like temperance, but it's more pouring it out, right? And so the Burning Roar, like, again, there is going to be this very, you know, Aries type energy, this burning sensation of wanting to do things for the right reasons. And Wave Splash is going to be tempering this fire. So I'm definitely getting temperance along with the star, which again can be very, very similar type energy. Well, at least now they're feeling very similar. And it's interesting because Entei says, it is said that when it roars, a volcano erupts somewhere around the globe. So again, it's kind of like that butterfly effect, right? Entei roars and then a volcano explodes, which this is definitely giving me, you know, Aries vibes, right? I always take volcano energy as Aries energy because it can sort of explode at any time. This says, a clever combatant, this Pokemon battles using water balloons secreted with moisture from its palms. So this talks about being more clever, being more intellectually based, and Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So there is an intellectual aspect to understanding how emotions, right? Water's emotions are used as a weapon. And you will probably see in the collective that this energy is being used to divide us, to cause destabilization of the collective. And you want to be staying in alignment and not lower your vibration into fear. Lower your vibration into shame. You don't want to do any of that. You want to stay at least 500 hertz or above, staying in love or higher. And again, it's hard to be in those higher frequencies if you're just partying. And then we have Galvantula using Cobweb Trip. So Galvantula is spider spirit, and spider spirit represents our fears, okay? And Cobweb Trip, cobweb, right? The difference between a cobweb and a spider web. A cobweb is the spider web that was abandoned by the spider, right? And so, you know, it's the home of the spider that's no longer inhabited because the spider has made a new web. So again, we can expect some old fears to be coming up so that they can be squandered, basically. Recognize that there really is no fear in these old webs that still exist. And, you know, spider spirit also represents, you know, the webs we weave when people lie and deceive and things like that. So you can really expect some not great energy in the collective, and it's up to us to stay aligned and focused on our own utopian timeline. It says they employ an electrically charged web to trap their prey. While it's immobilized by shock, they leisurely consume it. Again, there is something going on in the collective that can be explosive, destabilizing, separatist, and it's so that entities that feed off of fear and shock, that they can harness that energy and utilize it, okay? So just be aware. All right, so let's see what's going on in general. Let's just get some general guidance from the angelic realm and from source here. What is the advice for this eclipse season? So we have the 10 of Pentacles in reverse, the World in reverse, and the Ace of Pentacles in reverse again. So, yeah. So I want to point something out that I was feeling in the cleansing ceremony. But, you know, as they say, the satanic panic sort of thing, of course, it's not good to go into that fear either. But anytime the Ace of Pentacles comes out in reverse, it does have, you know, the same symbolism that the Devil card has, right? And so we can see, you know, devil energy in the physical reality. And that can be, you know, because, I mean, literally people are worshiping dark entities such as that. But it can be this focus on physical reality, right? The devil represents when we feel trapped in, you know, in a relationship with a person, in a relationship with a job, in a relationship with money, right? Anything that tethers us to physical reality, that we feel like we cannot separate ourselves from it, that we don't have free will to choose to walk away. Which, if you look at the Devil card, you know, the entities are not really chained there, right? They just believe that those chains are there. The chains are an illusion. And it is this illusion of forced connection that the devil triumphs, right? And so I do feel like there is going to be a push against free will during this eclipse season. And just remember, you have free will. No matter what and who is telling you, you have absolute free will. So we have the 10 of Pentacles in reverse, the World in reverse, and the Ace of Pentacles. So again, I am feeling like this is going to be making the world go a little bit topsy-turvy. I definitely feel financial shifts, property shifts. There's something going on with ownership is what I'm feeling. And again, this aspect of not, you know, trying to force the collective to believe that they don't have free will in some sort of way. And again, this is why it's very important to not attach yourself too much to physical reality, because if you feel an over importance and attachment to physical reality, you may end up on a timeline where that is so, right? And the truth is, you know, when you are in alignment, your material needs are provided for. You don't have to really worry about anything. And I know that's kind of like, oh, Sachi, whatever, that sounds hokey. But it's true. You know, when you're living in alignment, you don't have to worry about your bills or, you know, how you're going to feed your family and things like that. Again, if you're in alignment, if you stay out of fear, if you are in these higher vibrations, the universe literally just hands you things. You know, strangers offer you gifts of food or money or whatever it may be. It's living in abundance, and that's knowing you're always provided for and knowing that you're always going to have what you need. You know, I will say it's not easy to get into that vibration. And once you get there, it's even harder to maintain it, but it is a thing. And again, you know, releasing these types of worries and releasing, you know, attachment to physical reality really is so important. But not to your body. You definitely want to be staying grounded in your body here. Ten of Pentacles in reverse is this aspect of generational wealth that's topsy-turvy. So we may even see things like, you know, something about taxes that are shifting, or asset management shifting, but it's really going to be something that is influencing the entire world here. So, you know, expect big changes in physical reality. And again, align yourself with your emotions, right? Your water and your fire, your kundalini, your energy to create the reality that you want. Let's see, what's the light energy here? We have Vespa Queen, intelligence gathering. So again, I feel like whatever is going to happen in the collective is really just going to gather intelligence about how the collective will respond to certain things, if that makes sense. We do have Vespa Queen, so obviously that, you know, there's queen energy. So it seems like, you know, the feminine collective is really gathering information, and the feminine collective is the unseen, right? Things that are going on in the shadow. And so, for example, you know, this feels like a collective experimentation, which I'm sure you're aware that we've gone through those before. And it feels like something kind of similar. And again, when it comes to grass energy, which is, you know, can relate to money. It says its abdomen is a honeycomb for grubs. It raises its grubs on the honey collected by comb bee. Again, there is this aspect of, you know, how our material reality works, right? It's basically talking about the queen on top and then all the workers on the bottom, right? And so that literally is the pyramid scheme that our entire, you know, world economy basically runs on. There are very few at the top, and they are collecting, you know, all of the honey that the comb bees are making. And again, remember, we saw that beehive in the cleansing ceremony. So yeah, we can expect that when the hive, you know, the hive is getting agitated because of this pyramid scheme basically that's going on, where the queen bees are literally just sort of collecting that honey while the comb bee are doing all of the work. So again, it does feel like whatever shift is taking place, it may not be long term. Again, the craziest things can happen in eclipse season. And once the eclipse portal, and the thing is, you can quantum jump multiple times every single, I mean, you're already doing it during every single choice that you make, right? Every single word that I'm speaking is ultimately choosing my quantum reality, is choosing my timeline. But it's, you know, important to remember that during eclipse season, it's when the collective shifts timelines so drastically, and it can happen multiple times during the eclipse season. But again, on the other side of the eclipse portal is sort of when it's there to stay. There are other opportunities to jump, right? None of these are a life sentence type thing. However, we definitely see experimentation is what I want to, is really the message that I'm getting. And again, a lot of it has to do with physical reality, and Vespa Queen and comb bee type energy. It gives me service sector type energy, right? Because granted, we all are involved in the global economy in one way or another, but for example, entrepreneurs don't necessarily have a Vespa Queen with a bunch of comb bees, but things like corporations do. So I feel like it's influencing more people on a corporate level than anyone else, whereas people who are entrepreneurs may be, you know, like not necessarily affected in a lot of ways. But I am getting this energy of even, you know, Ten of Pentacles is sort of homesteady energy, because they're there, you know, multiple generations. This is the card of generational legacy and wealth. And they're, you know, out in the middle of nowhere in a forest, and they have like their farm. And because that's coming out in reverse, it definitely feels like energy trying to push people away from that for some sort of reason. All right, let's see what's going on in the shadow. Ooh, I'm really not liking the energy here. Yeah, bunnery, bounce. Yeah, All right, well, let's see what else wants to come out. Yeah, trainer all-night party. So again, there is this aspect of, you know, people who just want to party, and this also this narrative of just sort of pushing, you know, party energy, right? This is like in Vegas, so it's Sin City. So there's this aspect of like doing things that aren't good for you, doing things that corrupt the soul type energy. And in the shadow, it's like, okay, no more partying all night, right? And people who want to party all night also, you know, typically don't have to do any work. And so there is this aspect of, you know, bouncing out of energy like this. I'm also getting, there's something with the cities, but I can't really, I'm trying not to pick up on anything specifically in the grid. But it is important for, you know, each of you to tap into the grid of where you are and get the messages of, you know, of the land and what Mother Nature is telling you about what's going to be happening in your grid. Not just now, but in the coming months ahead. Because Bunnery using bounce is telling me that some of you need to bounce out of situations. You may need to leave a city and move. Again, now is not the time to be doing it, but this is the time to prepare so that when you are ready to take that, you know, when you are ready to move, then you will be ready. But again, you don't want to be doing it out of fear or anything like that. It says their ears are always rolled up. They can be forcefully extended to shatter even large boulders. So there is this energy of understanding that some people will not listen to you. No matter what type of truth that you speak or whatever, people are going to have their ears rolled up. And it's important that you bounce out of situations of people who just want to party, people who don't want to listen, people who just pretend like reality really isn't even happening. And it's, you know, there's a fine line between, you know, ignoring the mass media hype and, you know, collective brainwash of society versus being so delusional that you don't know that, you know, something's going to be coming to knock on your door sort of thing. You know what I mean? And so I don't recommend, you know, gluing yourself to the news or anything like that. But it is like things that are important are going to find their way to you. You know what I mean? But again, recognize people who won't listen because those aren't the people that you want in your hive anyway. It does talk about, you know, the ears can be forcefully extended to shatter large boulders. So that's telling me that a lot of blockages that are going to be in the shadow are going to be shattered. So that's telling me that a lot of the collective shadow is going to be coming to light here. And, you know, Bunnery, we have the rainbow energy, right? Rainbow energy represents, you know, it's light that you can separate and see what it really is, right? Because you can say, oh, that's red light. That's, you know, 250 nanometers or whatever it is. I don't remember the wavelengths anymore. But you're going to be able to visually see what is in the light. And so a lot is really going to be seen of things that have been working behind the scenes, things that have been, you know, in the shadow. And again, it's no longer just going to be one great party. A lot of more serious energy is going on. We do have this full moon here in the all-night party. So let's just see. It's interesting because Ace of Pentacles in reverse and all-night party in reverse came out in the cleansing ceremony and in the reading. So those are the major energies that are going on. All right, let's see what Mother Moon wants to say about this situation. Oop, okay, it wants to fall to the floor. Don't let pride get in your way. Full moon in Leo. So there can be this aspect of wanting to be, you know, prideful, of being like, no, I know I'm right, da 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 da, and that can keep you stagnant. So it's important to not let pride get in your way. Many people might be going through an ego death because, again, if their sense of self is so tied to physical reality, then when that distorts, then what's left? We have you're very close to achieving your goal in reverse, and luck is on your side in reverse. So Yeah, there are goals that need to be accomplished, but it looks like we're, as the collective, we're not very close to achieving the goal. And that's bouncing out of, this, grid of sin, right? Or, I hate using that word. And again, it's very much connected to a shame-based energy and entity that is kind of like with the devil, right? The devil makes us feel attached to all these terrible things, right? There's nothing wrong with anything that goes on in any sort of city. But again, it's like the network that runs the grid in big cities and things like that, and the energies that fuel it, and the things that go on underground, and the things that go on behind closed doors and things like that. We're not close to bringing all of that into light. There are boulders that are going to be shattered, but it's going to take time. And especially for those of you who are focused on grid work, who are focused on healing the collective and things like that, recognize that this is a lifelong goal. These things have been trying to be accomplished before you were born and will definitely be worked on even after you pass. And to remember that these are collective goals. It's not just you that has to do it. Don't put the whole world on your shoulders. Focus on alignment of what you can do right now in this present moment, and, possibly how you can extrapolate that into your lifetime. But it looks like in terms of bouncing out of that energy, we're not necessarily close right now, because the collective choices together are really going more dystopian. And that's why it's very important to be focused on your utopia. And that way you can help others get into their utopia, because we also have luck is on your side in reverse, new moon in Sagittarius, which is talking about, again, there's this aspect of sort of Vegas energy here, right? And luck in reverse. So it's kind of like, things are a gamble, and right now it's not really in favor of the collective. It's more in favor of the queens on top that are doing things to gather intelligence. So just be mindful, okay? Be very mindful of that. And yeah, okay. Let's just see what the unicorns would like to say. Again, the unicorn workshop developed by my twin and I helps you jump into the timeline of your choosing that is aligned with your soul mission. That is in my shop. I only have a couple. I only put a couple in this time. If that calls to you, please do check it out. We have Pool of Christ Light. Open your heart, spread unconditional love. Yeah, so again, Christ Light is in juxtaposition to the devil energy that I'm feeling in the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So Christ consciousness is unconditional love, right? That is no matter who or what or why, it is offering love to every single atom and molecule and even the antimatter of the universe, right? It is opening your heart chakra to give and receive the highest love of all, which is unconditional. And again, that is the energy that is going to stabilize the grid. Because when we have these forces that are trying to sow chaos and conflict into the collective and cause this separatist society, the only thing that will unify is unconditional love. So as much as you want to see someone as your enemy or against you or whatever, try to stay in that love vibration. Unconditionally love yourself and others in order to maintain the high vibration, and that is going to help you get through this eclipse season. And yes, that even means unconditionally loving these people at the top who are doing all these ridiculous things, okay? So anyway, like I said, in the extended, I'm going to go sign by sign to see what is going on. So we will go through Aries all the way to Pisces. I do suggest watching your sun, moon, rising, but if you're hacking a certain placement in your chart or a certain house in your chart, then of course do whatever sign that is in or the chart ruler. And we are going to be working with both of the light and shadow deck. So we're going to take a look, right? Because eclipses are all about balancing light and shadow. So for each sign, we're going to take a look into a light card and a shadow card. And then of course, we'll look into the general light and the shadow as we always do. So If you are interested, again, that is available for Eagle and Phoenix members. So I hope to see you there. But if we part ways here, good luck. Stay grounded, stay aligned.